Hello there, it is I, Speedwagon, aka Pepeth Enormous Slayer. I am here to narrate some of Fightside's finest literature and give my critique along the way. Now let us dive right into it. When I said, pause, that is me stopping to talk. When I say unpause, that is me continuing the story. Leaked script, Jimmy Brando vs. Aigee PeAitch. By FarleySweet. From the alleyways of Tokyo. Pause. Now you know this story is bullshit because Tokyo is not a real place and pause nightly mists into the vacant streets. Doors were locked and windows were shut after recent, strange happenings. Police were divided over an incident outside the city and fortifying their own station with what little manpower could be spared. The mysterious portals to Fightside have been causing a great disturbance for the rural regions outside the city, and tonight the police were being called out after several monster sightings. The additional reports of a young girl in pink with 3 others adolescents running around didn't help the investigations either. Profiting most from this time of stress was the veteran criminal Aigee PeAitch. A few of the braver crooks dared to roam the streets at this hour, but Aigee PeAitch came to exploit the city out of sheer greed and ignorance of the dangers around him. Not 1 month prior, his operations were severely undermined when the small gang of youths caught the better of him and destroyed much of his merchandise destined for the streets. The small crew's leader was named Hannah, and while Aigee PeAitch loathed the sound of her name, he was desperately trying to revive his status quo. His straight, gray hair was greased down to his shoulders, leaving a few strands to shoot off near the top. Over his green shirt was his dusty trench coat, containing many products he was eager to sell. His hands were tailored with a pair of slick white gloves, and under the loops of his blue jeans was a stylish green belt complete with a $sign symbol. Beside the ends of his droopy eyes were curled streaks of green war paint. Aigee PeAitch had to look good to sell good. Aigee PeAitch stood at the end of an alleyway, blocking off a sickly patron from the neon-lit street behind him. Pause. Thank God it was not a dragon dildo, or so we think. Ha ha ha. Inhale. Ha. Unpause. I got what you wanted, but you gotta give what I needed, said Aigee PeAitch with his scratchy, careless voice. The hefty customer before him was pale and nervous. It's the good stuff, right? He shook with a combined fear of what has been going on and what he was doing now. Pause. Like I said, it is probably a dragon dildo. And pause. Aimed. Aigee PeAitch pulled out a folder from his coat and quickly revealed several hastily drawn hentai pictures. All yours, Ang friend, for what I need. The patron sighed with a heavy heart and offered Aigee PeAitch a wad of yen. H, here, just take it. Heh? You making the smartest play now? Feel good? You should and buy more. Here, Aigee PeAitch handed 3 pictures over in exchange for the yen. That's it? No more? Asked the customer. Pause. What agree did you unpause? More is costing an extra. But you want the goods, aren't you? Aigee PeAitch snickered. I can't afford more though. I already have to balance my medication with my rent. Pause. Unpause. Aigee PeAitch spat on the ground, perhaps hitting his target as the spit splashed onto the customer's torn shoe. So, you no want buy my pictures anymore? I can just put you on the no dealy lease easy. No. I never said that. The customer was entering a panic. Oi? Aigee PeAitch hushed his customer. People could hear you. I am not wanting that. Pause. Honestly, this is the best Aigee PeAitch has ever spoken in this story so far. On pause. A deep, composed voice swarmed over from the street. You've already captured my attention. The two turned, and with a petrified shriek the customer named the voice's owner, Jimmy Brando. The customer clenched his pictures and bolted down into the alleyway. With his legs crossed, Jimmy Brando sat on top of a parked car. His wild and sharp blonde hair was kept partially together with a red bandana. Horned shoulder armor was strapped over his blank tank top and the remnants of a tattered red hoodie, which was now more of a vest without its arms. Fresh blood was soaked into his black leather pants all the way down to his curled boots. He kept his dark eyes locked onto Aigee PeAitch. Pause. Okay, BRB PewDiePie, I need to do shows on pause. Jimmy? Hectares, Aigee PeAitch returned this folder into his coat. Last I heard of you was being beaten by those loser gang. The clowns. What do you want? Jimmy's rich voice returned to vibrate Aigee PeAitch's ears. I am very glad you asked. See, I've been dealing with a bit of an insect infestation lately. You have the resources I need to exterminate my little pests. Aigee PeAitch, I've come for your service. Why should I? You being on my no-dealies list for a longer time. Aigee PeAitch walked out into the middle of the street, not to mentioning I know your gang is all split up after you beat up. What you got, huh? My old gang is the one I am out to finish off. The clowns are all already dead. The media should confirm that in maybe another week. Jimmy got off of the car and leaned against it with his arms folded. It is also in our mutual interest that Urameshi is disposed of sooner rather than later. Hannah? Aigee PeAitch growled, I'll deal with her when I get the chance. Meantime you can run off or pay up for some of my speciales. I don't think you fully understand what has been going on lately. Jimmy took a few steps into the street, that call outside the city where the monster hunts have been occurring. You may attribute that with the meddling of Hannah. She has made some dangerous alliances and learned some new techniques that will prove to be lethal should someone of your skill level square off with her. The one to destroy her must be me. You won't stand a chance. Pause. Okay, I am back on pause. Oi? Aigee PeAitch tensed up. I fake her up when I got to it. Same for you. I don't care what goes on off my ground or where she buys her candy. Business has be good for me. I don't want to ruin my lucky luck with another fight so soon. Jimmy's face began to show his anger. Your selfish seclusions will be your undoing. Whatever. I nodding your deal. On the streets anything go. Pause. Truer words have never been spoken. Words to live by, right Tommy?
Yeah.
On pause Aigee PeAitch's eyes stared Jimmy down. Jimmy stepped one leg in front of the other and crossed his arms behind his head. Amusement returned to his face. This is your last chance, PeAitch. I didn't come here with a proposal. I came here with an ultimatum. Either you join me or I tear you apart. It don't matter to me what you choose tonight. I am winning one way or the other. If what ha ha. Aigee PeAitch inhaled deeply. Our idiot, Jimmy. Aigee PeAitch bent his hips towards Jimmy, waved out his left arm, and pushed his right hand through his hair. Guess I would have to bet you up now, as shall. He'll leave you out for the rats to hunt. Pause. Wait on pause. HMP, Jimmy raised his right arm skyward. Eliminating you now would be most practical. If the witch got to you first, your resources would be used against me. So be it, you die tonight. Jimmy flicked his right hand and from it came a card with a black and white mask on it. Persona. Pause. Okay, what is a persona? The writer never stated what that was on pause. Jimmy's card flashed and from it came an animatronic-like figure. Wearing a red scarf, the robotic-like woman floated above Jimmy with waving red hair. From her back she took out an oversized harp. Bash. Jimmy ordered. Shite. Aigee PeAitch suddenly cried as the persona flew at him with the harp. The persona smashed Aigee PeAitch with the harp and flung him into a butcher's shop across the street from him. Aigee PeAitch broke through the glass of the shops as the persona faded away. The debris settled while carcasses of meat swung back and forth in the shop from all the commotion. Jimmy moved in front of the shop right when Aigee PeAitch sat up. A knife was stuck in the back shoulder of Aigee PeAitch. You fash. Pause. Fash. Question mark on pause. Aigee PeAitch admitted. That good, huh? Aigee PeAitch reached for the knife in his back and pulled it out in an instant. Jimmy smirked at the sight of his enemy's blood. Aigee PeAitch rested himself on one of his knees, caught his breath, and without warning flashed open his trench coat, causing a boxing glove to be sprung out. Oh! Cried Jimmy as the boxing glove rammed into him. Jimmy was thrown back until he dented a street pole. Pause. Stripper Paul. Ha ha. Humor on pause. Aigee PeAitch dropped the extensive mechanism and dusted himself off. But when Aigee PeAitch walked back into the middle of the street, Jimmy was nowhere to be seen. Aigee PeAitch felt something tightening around his arms and chest, and when he looked down, a thin, but most tight, sheet of paper was wrapping around him as if he was being mummified. Looking up, Aigee PeAitch could see Jimmy now standing on top of the street pole he was thrown into. Hovering over Jimmy's open hand was a roll of toilet paper. The toilet paper wrapped up around Aigee PeAitch's neck and was then wrapped around the end of the pole, leaving him to hang high up in the air. Jimmy jumped back down to the street and landed with grace. He watched Aigee PeAitch kick his legs and gag there. Pause. While kinda brutal for a kid's show on Pause. Little did Jimmy know, Aigee PeAitch was a master of physics and knew to sway himself to and fro in the air until enough momentum allowed him jiggle something out his coat. From his coat to his constrained hand fell a pin. Aigee PeAitch clicked the pin towards the sky and the cap shot off, cutting through the toilet paper and thus freeing him. As soon as Aigee PeAitch hit the ground, he rolled back onto his feet. Jimmy was already sprinting towards Aigee PeAitch when the gray-haired dealer looked. From his coat, Aigee PeAitch pulled out a vial filled with a green mixture and smashed it near Jimmy's incoming feet. Purely off of reflex, Jimmy jumped back and watched an ominous green mist rise and fade from the vial's exposed fluids. When the mist was gone, Jimmy took a piece of the glass off of the ground and read what it was labeled. Liquid autism? Pause. Just like this story and pause. Jimmy smiled. Now I understand how you were able to acquire such a large following. Jimmy took out another card, Persona. Aigee PeAitch was completely awestruck to see Jimmy summon a second persona. This one was much more formal looking and dressed in white. Zio! Jimmy shouted, making the persona raise its globe into the air. A bolt of lightning struck down towards Aigee PeAitch, narrowly missing him. Fuck, cursed Jimmy. Seeing his chance, Aigee PeAitch took out from his coat a buzzer and placed it around his hand. Aigee PeAitch leapt into the air and shoved his open palm and the buzzer into Jimmy's chest. Electricity charged through Jimmy's body, causing so much pain that the whiteness of his eyes became largely visible. When the battery of the buzzer was drained, Jimmy was blasted back until he himself rolled back onto his feet. Pause reminds me of my father's many methods to get me to get off the computer and go to sleep on Pause. Not bad, Jimmy panted, although I knew you would be fairly crafty when I came here. You took shit all time now, said Aigee PeAitch confidently, pointing at Jimmy. I am here to bring the repain. Jimmy. I wonder, Jimmy thought to himself for a moment before putting his hands together. With a wicked smile aimed at Aigee PeAitch, Jimmy opened his hands back up, and floating midair between both hands were 3 pieces of wrapped up round candies. Jimmy raised his hands up and flung them down, the candies then being launched at Aigee PeAitch. Aigee PeAitch gasped and jumped out of the way as the candies hit the ground and exploded. Aigee PeAitch stood back up, sustaining only a little shock damage. Dirty Dick XD. Aigee PeAitch yelled out. Pause. Wait on Pause. So, you were able to see my attack? Jimmy asked aloud. Just stupid at candies, wire, shouted Aigee PeAitch. It appears you were able to see mean attacks after all. Perhaps I should have known the toilet paper move wasn't a stroke of luck. Aigee PeAitch folded his arms. Yeah, I know of mean. Mostly from fighting odors with hit though. Street losers been using it before yo-yo no. What I want know is how you used 2 personas. Hectares. J ha 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 ha. Jimmy laughed. Fool, I am a unique persona user, I wield the wild card. Pause. Clearly this is an non-canon OVA than on Pause. Huh? Aigee PeAitch was torn with astonishment. My wildcard ability allows me to summon a multitude of different personas. In other words, I am able to fight with whichever arcana I so please. Aigee PeAitch spat on the ground and grumbled. Hello if I care. I bog you out anyways anyway, Jimmy. This is why you were doomed from the start, Aigee PeAitch. I have mastered both Neen and the Arcana while our enemies are quickly learning both. You who had never realized your true potential or sought the ways of Neen would be struck down in any fight with the Scary God crew. Jimmy swat his arm across the air at the end for extra effect. Shut up. Aigee PeAitch cleverly said, "Email finished us now." Pause. Hopefully he means this story and pause. 6 tiny red lights appeared across Jimmy's chest. Jimmy froze in fear when he noticed the light were coming from 6 barrels peering out of Aigee PeAitch's trench coat. Sweat ran down Jimmy's face. The hell is this? Commission mode activated. Aigee PeAitch struck an elegant pose with the 6 barrels from his coat aimed at Jimmy. He is making his own commissions as a desperate final attack. Jimmy narrated in fitter. 6 separate blasts of golden bullets were all fired at once towards Jimmy. Jimmy was only able to dodge 5 of the bullets as the last pierced through his arm. Jumping on top of the butcher's shop behind him, Jimmy prepared for his own desperate attack. It is time for an all-out attack. Pause on pause, Jimmy yelled, pulling out his entire deck of tarot cards. Not today. Aigee PeAitch aimed his barrels back up at Jimmy. Aigee PeAitch activated his moon shoes and jumped up to Jimmy's level, but it was all to his undoing. Once leveled with Aigee PeAitch, Jimmy chose not to activate his cards but instead throw them all at his foe. Time slowed down before Aigee PeAitch's very eyes as the cards moved in closer and closer to him. Finally, all at once, the tarot cards all entered Aigee PeAitch's body, knocking him back down to the earth. Drenched in his own blood, and now other bodily fluids, lied Aigee PeAitch on the ground beside his pornographic images and other bizarre devices. Jimmy jumped down and stood before his defeated foe. He don't appear to be breathing. Jimmy bent down and listened closely. Yep. This bitch is dead. But just to be safe, Jimmy stopped on Aigee PeAitch's head and crushed his skull. All in a day's work, Jimmy snapped his fingers and the cards piecing the dead Aigee PeAitch's body faded away. The following morning, Aigee PeAitch's customer looted his pictures and shoes before calling the police. The end. Okay, that story hurt my throat a little. What did you think, Tommy?
It was okay.
Cool. I thought so too. Thank you for listening and watching. I will do more in the future.